The movie begins with a news broadcaster airing the news about another assault in the city. The murderers are using high-tech weapons, and it seems that they are a part of an underworld terrorist group. While the news is broadcasting, a bulk man turns off the TV and his wall is full of photographs of the terrorist suspects. He then sits on his desk and begins looking at the news about Punisher. The scene shifts to Natasha Romanoff, who is Black Widow, and it seems that she is also after Punisher due to some reason. The plot sets when the very same man arrives at the terrorists' hideout and begins to eliminate each of them. He continues the massacre until the head of the gang, Kane, tries to escape. Soon, an explosion takes place and Kane sighs heavily because the man who is after him should be deceased by now. However, he starts panicking when he hears footsteps approaching him. Kane sees the man, and he is no other but Frank Castle, also known as the Punisher. At this point of the story, Frank is depicted as a villain because Black Widow is also spying on him. However, when the Punisher asks Kane about where did he get all these weapons, we get the idea that Frank's intentions aren't bad. While he is trying to get answers, he is confined by Black Widow and the S.H.I.E.L.D's aircraft. Natasha tells him that thanks to his efforts, S.H.I.E.L.D's whole mission has been compromised as Frank has destroyed the terrorists' hideout, and S.H.I.E.L.D. wanted to get information about the weapons supplier from. She further adds that it isn't too late because if Frank can hand Kane out, then she can get to the mastermind behind all this. However, Frank disagrees by saying that he doesn't work for S.H.I.E.L.D., and his only mission is to eliminate those who terrorize the innocent lives. Although they both are on the same page and has the same motive, their different approach and tactics causes things get on fire, and they indulge in hand combat. The fight gets interesting with each blow, until Fury intervenes when they both try to end each other. Fury asks Frank for a word, to which he flashes toward him by knocking down his men. Then he tells him to start talking, because he has work to do. Fury tells him to stop intervening in his mission because Frank is only making things worse. Frank disagrees and threatens to eliminate Fury. Natasha simply attacks him with her special comatose injections. Fury warns Natasha that Frank will take an act of revenge, because Fury knows how his mind works. Natasha seems to be ready for him, and for now, she wants to take Kane in for interrogation. About that, one of Fury's men tells them that Kane escapes away. So, Fury takes Frank to the S.H.I.E.L.D's facility, where he asks him about Kane's location. Frank knows where to find him, but he still doesn't want to cooperate. Fury then tells Frank that Kane is collaborating with Leviathan, which is the worst criminal organization, and now they somehow stole S.H.I.E.L.D's weapon technology, and they are using it for evil purposes. He then warns Frank that he will get him a sentence of life imprisonment if he doesn't give them Kane's location. Frank agrees to assist and shows him Kane's location. However, he demands to go alone after Kane, because he wants to avenge his family. Fury neglects and says that he isn't in any position to negotiate. However, Natasha insists on allowing him to go, so Fury assigns Natasha as Frank's partner. So, Natasha and Frank start ascending toward an abandoned S.H.I.E.L.D's facility in Slornia. While they are on way, Frank asks for more information on Leviathan's gang. Natasha tells him that she doesn't know much, but she gets the rumors that this gang went underground when Russia collapsed, and they have no idea what they want and what Leviathan's objective is, and this makes them even more dangerous. They arrive at the abandoned facility, where Frank sees that Kane is still in there. Natasha decides to sneak in at night, but Frank ignores her and starts stepping forward. They successfully sneak into the facility, and shortly afterward, Natasha notices something unusual. Humans confined alive in chambers as if Leviathan is doing bio-experiments. Before they can do something about this, Frank sees Kane, and makes up his mind to go after him. Natasha tries to stop Frank, and in doing so they both indulge in a fight. Soon, Natasha realizes that they shouldn't be fighting in the middle of a mission, so she lets him go. Frank goes after Kane, and threatens him to answer about what humans are doing in the pod. Kane starts looking for his phone and begs him to back off that dagger as he is ready to intel everything. When Kane finds Frank off guard, he picks up his phone, and attacks with intense light, and escapes away again. On the other hand, Natasha knocks down the scientist and begins downloading Leviathan's classified data about the mission. But in doing so, she notices an enemy staring at her. She quickly rushes to him and begins fighting because this man can alert everyone of their presence. While fighting, she senses something unusual, as this man is too strong and her blows are not affecting him. Shortly afterwards, the man says her name, and at this point, it is depicted that he is Natasha's deceased love, Elihaz. At first, Natasha is overwhelmed, but then she gets mad because Elihaz is the one who steals S.H.I.E.L.D's technology for Leviathan. Elihaz then explains himself as if he has done the right thing. He tells her that he feels unworthy of her love, so he chooses this life. He further says that the humans in the pods are bioweapons. They have been injected with a special serum due to which they will be unstoppable. As Elihaz felt unworthy of Natasha's love, he experimented his research on himself, and now he can fight beside her. At this point, it looks like that Natasha is falling for it. Alihas invites her to join him by saying that he will talk to the head named Orion, who is a reputed member of Leviathan. Natasha quickly smashes him because she doesn't want to be a part of Leviathan's evil business plan. Instead, she is there to stop them. At this point, Natasha leaves no choice for Alihas but to fight. Alihas starts attacking her with enough intensity to eliminate her, but before he does, Frank arrives for the rescue. Then they both get away from the facility, and on their way, Natasha tries to hack Kane's phone, which Frank has got after Kane escaped. Unfortunately, she couldn't hack the phone, so they both change their course and arrive at S.H.I.E.L.D's facility in Istanbul. There they meet the most intelligent, young scientist Amadeus. During their high hellos, Amadeus and Natasha plays a verbal chess game which depicts how intelligent he is when he checkmates her. Then Natasha asks him to hack Kane's phone. Amadeus gets to the work, but as soon as he inspects the network, Kane's phone begins throwing light, and soon it seems that Leviathan starts controlling the Punisher. Frank becomes barbaric and begins attacking Natasha. She instructs Amadeus to stop the phone, and while he is trying, the S.H.I.E.L.D's army gets there to stop Frank. However, Frank is unstoppable as he easily eliminates everyone. Amadeus senses that the phone is going to explode soon, so he thinks of a plan B and runs to the corner, and throws away Kane's phone before it explodes. After that, Frank comes to his senses and is terrorized after seeing what he has done. A backup army of S.H.I.E.L.D. confines him. At that point, Natasha tries to stop them from arresting Frank, but Frank voluntarily raises his hands for cuffs. Natasha then talks to Fury and asks him to do something for Frank. Fury says that Frank must be imprisoned because he is prone to the enemy's technology. About that, Natasha tells him that Leviathan has developed mind-controlling technology, and to her surprise, Fury knows this already. Natasha then gets mad at Fury because he didn't provide her with the whole intel about the mission. She asks about the whole truth while saying that if he doesn't tell everything, then a mind-controlled lady will come after him. Upon asking, Fury tells her that he already knew about the truth. He further adds that Alihas stole some classified research on S.H.I.E.L.D. Although that research was of no use as those missions got suspended, but still they investigate the matter, and when Alihas dramatized his passing, S.H.I.E.L.D. stopped looking into the matter. Moreover, the classified research that is stolen by Alihas includes DNA and blood of Avengers. At this point in the story, Natasha thinks of the serum that Alihas was talking about. He must have injected Avengers' DNA into the humans' pods to make bioweapons. Upon realizing the mess created by Alihas, Natasha is determined to save innocent lives. So, she gets to Frank, who is still feeling guilty. He tells her that he has made himself a weapon against the evil, but he ends up eliminating innocent people. Natasha ignores him and says that he can die whenever he wants, but right now, he has to settle the score. With this being said, the duo set their journey to get an intel from a spy who knows everything about the ins and outs of the underworld. They both arrive in Hong Kong and meet Reg. Frank asks him about the place where Leviathan auction for a bioengineered army will hold. Initially, Reg is hesitant because he knows that Leviathan will eliminate his family, but Natasha motivates him by saying if he doesn't tell them, then Leviathan will eliminate innocent people who are someone's family too. Then Reg builds up the courage and tells them that Leviathan's auction will commence at 2 a.m. in Madripoor, the heaven of criminals. Black Widow and the Punisher then head to Madripoor and try to sneak in without letting everyone know. Alihas knows about their presence, so he sends an army of bioweapons to eliminate them. Frank starts eliminating the army, and seeing this, Natasha tries to stop him because she thinks of them as innocent people who got dragged into all this without their consent. Frank agrees to her for the first time, and the two begin to knock down the enemies. In doing so, they get confined, and before the plot turns against them, Hulk arrives there and starts throwing the advanced army as if they are nothing. Alihas is watching everything from the top, and he launches his mind-controlling attack. Frank and Natasha close their eyes, but Hulk doesn't. At this point, it is depicted that Natasha has lost Hulk, but no. Frank hilariously says that perhaps he doesn't have a mind to be washed. Anyways, soon Natasha sees Amadeus on Hulk's back. He gives her special goggles which can stop mind compulsion. Natasha and Frank use that, and the fight continues. Frank lets Natasha go after Alihas, and when she confronts him, they indulge in hand combat. After some pretty good action, their fight comes to an end when Natasha tells him that he was enough for her the way he was. He doesn't have to do all this. At that point in the story, Alihas confesses his wrongdoings, and decides to fight beside her. He then tells her that there is an eliminate switch that can mobilize the whole army. However, that switch is with Orion, and they must get it if they want to save the world. While they are making plans, the Iron Man along with his team arrives at the auction with enough sarcastic yet hilarious talks. The Avengers then begin fighting the bioweapons, and on the other hand, Natasha and Alihas confront Orion. A fight begins between them in which it is clear that the duo can't win against him. During the fight, Elias succeeds in getting the eliminate switch and mobilizing the whole army. However, he is knocked down after this, and about then Frank arrives there too. He doesn't know that Elias has a change of heart, and while he is aiming at him, Elias sees Orion trying to eliminate. So, he jumps before Natasha to take all the damage. Seeing this, Orion starts laughing, but Frank starts approaching him, while saying that Elias was a good person, and all this is Orion's doing and he must be eliminated, while saying he daggers him, due to which he passes away. Natasha and Elias say farewell before Elias passes away, and the plot quickly shifts to the post-mission scenes where Fury is angry with Frank because Elias is gone, and he eliminates Orion too, and now they can't get any lead on the Leviathan's next mission. He orders Black Widow to arrest him and says that it's her responsibility to take him to prison. Natasha opens the cuffs by saying that she hopes that he doesn't escape by accident. It is quite hilarious, but the movie's conclusion makes them a pretty good team. In the post-credit, the movie concludes when Kane is sitting with girls while Frank is spying on him. The movie's plot arrives from where it all started, but this time, Frank gets to him for real.